The gym membership and medications, Mr. Parton did not believe that it should be appropriate. He took it out of his equation. The testimony is that Mr. Maislen used to just always had gym memberships because he was a spinning instructor. So this is a new amount for him. In addition, medications are included in this category. And right now, of course, we know that he's only taking Advil and a couple other Ambien. Nothing heavy duty, and nothing for when pain gets worse or when he has to have another surgery. So that's, again, this is a minimum life care plan. They do the best that they can do at the time. That's what we do. We do our best. Household cleaning and home yard maintenance. This has been, I guess, called into dispute by the defendant because Mr. Maislen has always rented his residences. I think having a tenant that takes care of the yard is a good thing, and he always has, along with Ms. Eastman, and I think that is very reasonable. The wage loss issue. Again, this is all the economic damages we're talking about right now, economic damages. The past wage loss. These are all the plaintiff's figures. The defendant will argue their figures. The plaintiff's figure is that Mr. Maislen, the past wage loss is what is. He has not worked since the date of the collision. So unless you believe that he stayed off work for this lawsuit to get more money, or he is malingering because he just doesn't want to work, or he can't get a job and so this is an excuse for him not to work, unless you believe those things about Mr. Maislen, he hasn't worked since the date of the crash. And that is his wage loss. And they don't have to do any of that fancy discount rate stuff that I never seem to be able to understand. The future wage loss. We gave you 3 scenarios. Whether he can return to work at all, if he does, according to the gold standard PhD, Dr. Becker, who did the physical capacity analysis, he did not think he could return to work. Catherine Reed felt he could not return to work. That's $333,280. We did put these other scenarios in. You think that maybe he will be able to go part-time to work. You know what? Maybe Mr. Maislen will be able to find a job to accommodate him for the next 6 years of his work life, because we've capped it. This doesn't assume that he's going to work till the age, as Dr. Silverberg is almost 70. This assumes that he can work to below age 65. That's the tables that we have to work with. We're given tables, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. So here is my thought about this. Mr. Maislen had a life plan before everything changed. The defendant changed his life plan. I think that the defendant should give Mr. Maislen the benefit of the doubt on this issue. Because he cannot come back and say, you know, I tried to work, I couldn't do it. The environment was too hard. Or, you know, I tried to work, but the employer didn't like how slow I was. Or, you know, I tried to go back to work, but I'm just so tired. Or I tried to go back to work, and I made mistakes. Or I tried to go back to work, and it's just crushing me because I keep trying to get these jobs, and they keep rejecting me, and it's making me even feel worse than I am. He has 6 more years left to work under our scenario. I think that the defendant can give him the benefit of the doubt and just give him all the wage loss, because I don't think Mr. Maislen is going to work again. If you add up all of the amounts that I just gave you, which are the economic amounts, the amounts that in voir dire we all agreed, these aren't the ones that are difficult for us to accept. We come to about $361. There is an amount here that's not included, however, and that's for the time that he was in a wheelchair, he was with sticks, canes, he was in slings, he needed bandages changed, he needed injections performed, he needed meals brought to him by Mary Eastman and all of his other friends and family. He couldn't do anything. There's no amount that's listed in anybody's report, because this is past loss, to take care of his past household services. The economic expert did not calculate the past medical treatment, because it's already happened, and he didn't calculate the past household services, because that's already happened. And so I believe we should round it up to $1 million. That is very reasonable. It is like $30,000 for a year of having people wait on him, hand and foot, and then care for him up to the present time. Chauffeurs alone, I think, would justify that. So the plaintiff believes that we have $1 million in economic losses, ones that should not be in dispute. They happen. They are. Are they a lot? Yes. But what happened to Mr. Maislen has been a lot. The next item that we are going to cover is the non-economic loss section. It is helpful, and all I'm going to do now is give you my impression of what is helpful. I'm not dictating to you. I'm not telling you this is my way or the highway, you must follow me. It is helpful when you look at someone who's been injured, whether it's a small injury, a medium injury, or a big injury, to look at how bad is the harm, how long does it last, and how much does it impact someone's life. It's an equation, and it's very helpful when you're discussing it and looking at it. I've had experiences where I've done it and I rate it. I have a scale. On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is it? Oh, that's a 5, or oh, that's a 7. In this case, it's a little bit more complicated, because we don't have just one injury. We have multiple injuries. And let me give you an example of how I look at it. Mr. Maislen has a hard time sleeping. He can't rarely sleep longer than 3 hours at a time because he gets woken up, and here's why. If he turns and is on his right side, the pain from doing that, because of his shoulder and his elbow in particular, wakes him up. I don't know about you, but it takes a lot to wake me up. But he's woken up every single night by pain. So he cannot lie on the right shoulder. So you think, well, just lie on the left side. But if Mr. Maislen wants to lie on his left side, then he's woken up by the pain from his left hip. So everything is interconnected here, and it is a problem, more than if he just had one injury. So I believe that when you look at this equation and how bad is the harm, I think it's difficult to separate out, well, how bad is the shoulder, and how bad is the elbow, and how bad is the hip, and how bad is the emotional, and how bad is the lack of grip strength. I think you have to look at everything together as a whole person.